Oh, baby. How about it, everyone? Welcome into Chatterbox Bearcats, talking about another Cincinnati Bearcats win as the Cats improved to 7-0 on the season. The football season came and went. It seemed like every single one of these post-game shows, I came out here with a frown on my face. I was disgusted with what I sasaw. This is a thing of beauty. I have not had this much fun watching a Bearcats team in, I guess, since the last time they started 7-0, which was 2017, 2018. We're going to get into a bunch of that, but if you like the show, be sure to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, leave it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. That will make sure that the algorithm pumps this show to you, and we need you in those chat rooms. Next weekend, the Xavier Musketeers and the Crosstown Shootout. You know those trolls. You know those trolls are going to be at Dana Gardens on their phone if the Cats win. We need you there. We need you there in the chat room, breaking it down after the Muskies game. But first of all, let's break down the game today against Florida Gulf Coast. Cincinnati, I kind of buried the lead. I just introed the show and did not mention that the Bearcats won the game, or I did when I said they're 7-0, but I did not mention how much they won the game by. It was an ass-kicking. 99-62, the final score. They take down Florida Gulf Coast. This is not the same Dunk City squad that we saw about a decade ago. But the Bearcats shot at 56% from the floor, 11 of 19 from three, when UC is shooting 11 of 19 from three. Similar numbers to what they did in that Georgia Tech game. And Georgia Tech, since that UC game, has beaten a ranked Mississippi State team and a ranked Duke team. So UC may have just taken down a decent team at Georgia Tech, and I think UC could take down a lot of very good teams this year if they continue to shoot 11 of 19 from three. Cats dominated the boards, and there was no question that they wouldn't dominate the boards when you saw the size advantage that they had. 46-23 in favor of the Bearcats. UC's running out a 6'11 power forward and a 7-foot center. They have size for days, and it makes me warm and fuzzy inside. Lakhin and Fredrick led the way with 19 points each. Dan Skillings went 1 of 7, but he did grab 12 rebounds. So the fact that the Cats are able to overcome Dan Skillings going just 1 of 7 from the floor and winning by 37 with no Simas Lukosius, who was out with soreness after being hit by a car. The good news is they did say that Simas will play in the Crosstown Shootout. But it goes to show you, this team is deep. Off the bench, they can get it done. Really liked what I saw today from the Bearcats again. Let's run through the box score. Aziz Bandaogo, 10 points on 5 of 8 shooting. Viktor Lakhin once again led the way, or co-led the way, with 19 points and 9 rebounds. Also 6 assists. Stuffing the stat sheet, Viktor. John Newman had 7 points and 4 boards. 7 points for Day Thomas. 19, the co-leader, for C.J. Fredrick, who was 5 of 6 from outside the arc. Odio Guama had 13 points and 4 rebounds. Jizzle James had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Josh Reed had 4 points and 5 rebounds. Dan Skillings, I mentioned the 3 points, but he did have the 12 boards and 4 assists. And then C.J. Anthony played for 5 minutes and scored 8 points. How about that from C.J. Anthony? Let's start it off, though, with a little ran him out of the gym. It's as simple as that. Wasn't even close. There was an oop 7 seconds approximately into this game. Bearcats won the tip. Day had it, looked up the floor, and from about 5 feet past the three-point line, found Aziz Bandaogo on the oop who flushed it home. And I'm like, I've seen that story many times from the Houston Cougars. I've seen that a couple times when Houston played UC. That's how those games would get started. They'd get the tip, they'd go down the floor, they'd lob it up, and that place would be rocking 7 seconds into the game. The Bearcats did it today. That's the type of team we're looking at, folks. Why did FGCU want to run? That's what I want to know. Because every single time they went to Kelsey Conway's report, she was like, I was behind the bench, and coach said that this team wants to run. Every time they get the ball, they want to run, they want to run. And then 5 minutes later, the play-by-play guy, Manzini, and Terry Nelson would be like, oh, they're just exhausted. They got their hands on their knees. They can't run. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, coach? They got like 6 guys running around against the deepness of this Bearcats team, and you're trying to run them? You're trying to run Cincinnati off the floor? I think Cincinnati's fine in transition. John Newman, Day Thomas, Jizzle James, Bandego thrives in transition. He can run. When you get in transition, you get open looks for CJ Fredrick. Like, why would you want to run on the Bearcats? You got Aziz Bandego coming from behind, ready to swat it. And if he's not there, 7-foot Viktor Lakhin is. But they were trying to run. When Dan Skillings goes 1 of 7 and you win by 37, that's when you know you have a really deep team. We got used to teams like last year's with David DeJulius and Landers Nolly, and years prior, Jaron Cumberland having a lion's share of the points and taking the bulk responsibility there. Decade before that, or 6 years before that, Sean Kilpatrick does the same thing. Deontay Vaughn did the same thing there for a minute. So a lot of these Bearcats teams in years past, in the last 15, 20 years, have been very top-heavy when it comes to their scoring. This team has multiple guys that can beat you. CJ Fredrick has thrown up goose eggs multiple times this year, including last game at Howard. Puts up a casual 19 today. Couldn't miss a shot. I love it. I absolutely love how this team spreads the wealth. Viktor Lakhin leads the way again. He scored 7 and 8 in his first 2 games this season, has been outstanding the last 5 games, averaging 18.5 over those 5 games. Is he a superstar? Is he all Big 12 conference? We'll see. When the competition picks up, we'll see if Viktor can be this consistent. But right now, grabbing 9 boards to go along with his 19 today and dishing out 6 assists and once again hitting a 3-pointer on his only attempt, what can't Viktor Lakhin do? This guy's a hell of a player. Bandego being down low really changes this team. All of a sudden, we went from, God, we're going to get destroyed by Houston on the boards once again. It's going to be Oguama and Viktor Lakhin. We've seen this story. You add in just one 7-footer like Aziz, who can control the paint defensively and make sure that no one has a comfortable time going down the lane at any point in the game. That's a game changer. Just him standing there. And then the lob threat comes into play. He can run the floor. 10 points on the game once again today. His minutes are finally going up. He's at about 23. Averaged about 29 last year, so I'd expect him to keep gaining more and more minutes as the season goes on. But Bandego, man, I mean, he just changes this team a ton. And I hated how the Bearcats have been bullied the last 4 or 5 years, since Cronin left, really. That defensive philosophy that the Cats had, it was gone. It was a lot of run and gun. It was chucking up a ton of 3-pointers. When they did win games, they would have to, score 80 points and outscore some of these teams. They weren't grinding it out like they used to. And now they can score and they can grind you out defensively and beat you by 40 points. We love that. Bearcats are 7-0 on the season, folks. It's been a while. They've been in the spot many times in the last couple decades. But it's been a while since they got over the hump to 8-0. The last time they were 7-0 was Gary Clark's senior year in 17-18. They lost at Cintas Center on that 8th game. Get over the damn hump this time, folks. Get over the hump. Before that, when they were 7-0, they lost to Butler. You remember that game? Before that, they lost to New Mexico when they were 7-0. You got to go back to Kashmir Wright's senior year since the Cats team started off the year 8-0. It was that year that to go 7-0, Kashmir Wright actually hit that jumper against Alabama at the buzzer. I was in attendance. Great time. Electric at the old Fifth Third. And that was the last season that a Bearcats team, I think it was in 2012? That sounds about right. That 2012-13, I believe, since the Cats team has started 8-0. But I think this team should be ranked on Monday. And if you're listening to this podcast or watching this video after Monday and the Cats aren't ranked, then shame on you, AP poll. Shame on you, voters. This is a top 25 team. They're 7-0. They've beaten Georgia Tech. They survived a road game at Howard. Look, they haven't beaten great teams. We get it. It's the way they've won. It's the eye test. This is a top 25 team right now. They have no weaknesses. At least as of now, maybe we find out what their weaknesses are come conference play, but they can shoot. They have physical guards. They have quickness at the guard position. They have a big center that's 7 foot that can run the floor and defend. They got a big forward that's 6'11" that can stretch the floor, knock down threes, grab rebounds. They have a guy that comes off the bench that grabs 7-8 rebounds in his sleep in Dan Skillings. They have a coach that He's the next Bob Huggins, baby. I'm going to say it. We got a coach that's on the rise. One of the great young coaches in college basketball that Roy Williams advocates for, that a lot of North Carolina fans hope coaches their Tar Heels someday, and the Bearcats have them. What don't they have right now? A quality win. That's what they don't have, and hopefully they get that against Xavier as a ranked team. Maybe they're not ranked and just receiving votes in the AP poll, but regardless, they're going to be right there. Shout out Joe Lunardi, kind of. He doesn't have the Bearcats in the field, but he does have them as the first 4 out. It has been so long since we can look at those bracketology projections and actually believe that the Bearcats may be in the mix. They're in the mix right now. They're in the mix. Stack up a few decent non-conference wins in Xavier and Dayton, and you're going into the Big 12 looking at 500, getting you back to the NCAA tournament, and that could get you a decent seed, actually, with a 500 record in this year's Big 12. It's that good. I mean, damn, BYU's ranked. Kansas is ranked in the top 10. Houston's ranked in the top 10. The list goes on of teams that are stout in this league. No one seems to be horrible. UC's going to have their chances for quality wins. As of right now, they don't have them. Last point I wanted to get to, Jizzle James. Starting point guard? I think so. Hear ye, hear ye. By the end of this season, Jizzle James is going to be the Cincinnati Bearcats starting point guard. Is that the first starting point guard the Cats would have since, I think Adams Woods may have started some games in his freshman year, actually. But if not, it would probably be since Devin Downey or maybe Kashmir Wright. One of those 3 guys, I would say. But he's getting more minutes as Jizzle. 18 points, or 18 minutes today, I should say, as compared to Day-Day Thomas's 20 minutes. And I thought Jizzle outplayed Day-Day once again. And if Jizzle wins the starting job, it's not because Day-Day isn't a very high-quality D1 basketball player. It's just because Jizzle's going to take it. Jizzle's good, man. He's got that little mid-range jumper that we saw on the baseline today. Strength to get through traffic and score in the paint. Lightning quick. 3-point shot leaves a lot to be desired, but we'll get there one step at a time. But Jizzle's good, man. 9 points, 5 boards, 4 assists for Jizzle today in those 18 minutes. Let's get him some more minutes. I'd love to see him be the starting point guard and think he will be the starting point guard by the time this season ends. Book it. Last thing, Xavier is up next. They're 4-4 on the season after losing at Cintas Center to Houston. They have a loss to Oakland. They're not great by any means as of now. And it's a completely different roster than last year. The entire starting lineup different. Fremantle is injured, so we will not see Zach Fremantle. You're not going to recognize any of these names. Sule Boom, gone. Kunkel, gone. Fremantle, Nunji, gone. Like the entire cast of characters that beat up on the Cats for the last 4 or 5 years. At this point, how many have we lost in a row? I think it's... When's the last time they won? The last time they won was Jaron Cumberland's junior year. It was the first year of Fifth Third. It was the last time Cincinnati won a game. So since then, they've lost 2 at Fifth Third, and they've lost a couple at Cintas as well. So they've lost 4 in a row. But the alumni team won in Cintas. Maybe that broke the curse. It would be the first time that a Bearcats team won in Cintas. And the X-fans will say that the Bearcats have never won at Cintas. David West didn't get hurt. We would have won that game. You guys lost by 20. Shut the hell up. Anyways, Xavier is up next. Here's the deal. I'm not talking about this game by myself. I need my man Houdini to break it down with me. So we are going to do a show later on this week. We're going to put it on YouTube, put it on the podcast app. It'll be 20 minutes of nothing but Xavier talk. Talk about the entire series as a whole. It's Xavier Hate Week. Give some predictions. See what the spread is. Bring up the spread. And just talk crosstown shootout. One of the great rivalries in college basketball that has not gone Cincinnati's way since I turned into a man. And really my entire life, for that matter. So that's coming up later on this week. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Bearcats are 7-0 on the season after a 99-62 win over Florida Gulf Coast. If you like the show, again, subscribe, give it the thumbs up, leave a comment on the podcast app. The 5-star reviews are I'm thankful for them. That's a great Christmas present to your man. Have a good one, everyone.